Hello everybody, it is Tom and welcome to another video. So, today we're going to be doing something... Isn't this what I always say? Today we're going to be doing something slightly different. It's almost like I do different kinds of videos. Wow. Today we are going to be answering the question. The question. How did I get my name? Wow. Okay, so as a trans person, I have the unique pleasure of choosing my name. And obviously it's not only trans people who have that. I mean, technically anyone can change your name, but especially for trans people, it's a very important thing to do because often your birth name gives you dysphoria. And this is not the case for all trans people. Obviously, some people prefer to keep their first name, but for me, I needed a different name. So, today we're going to hear the fascinating story of how I came to be called Tom. So, I hope you're going to enjoy it. I don't know if you will, but also I can, take these out. If I leave these out, Darla tries to attack them anytime I lean over, so I've taken to just stuffing them into my shirt, but that looks weird on a video. Not that you can really see it, but... Ooh, wow. Alright, so let's begin. Okay, so I talked a little bit about coming out as trans in, I want to say one of the Ask Me Anything videos. I think the first Ask Me Anything video, but let's do a quick recap. And this will lead us into answering this question. So, the year was 2020. A year. It was a year. And like many people, I spent pretty much all of 2020, from March until December and onward into 2021, quarantining, seeing pretty much no one except my roommate and my cats. Yeah, so most of 2020 I spent in my apartment writing. I wrote 2 novels during 2020. One of them was a quarter of the way done, so it wasn't an entire novel. But yeah, I wrote 2 novels during that time, and I played a lot of Stardew Valley. And I also ended up on a Harry Potter Facebook group, because sometimes they had funny memes. And someone on that group posted about J.K. Rowling's comments regarding trans people, and like a fool, I commented as well. I think what I said was, trans people keep saying that her comments are hurtful, so maybe we should listen to them. Something like that. Now notice me using them, because at this point in my life, I did not realize that I was trans. I'd been calling myself... So, quick background, when I was in my early 20s, I figured out that I was trans, and then bad stuff happened, so I decided not to be trans, because that's a thing you can do, right? And many years later, I started calling myself gender fluid, and that's where we are in our story. So at this point in our story, I've been calling myself gender fluid, which, of course, is a legitimate identity. Just because I was not doesn't mean that gender fluid is not a thing. It is a thing. I just was not. So, of course, the trolls came out in full force to attack me for daring to suggest that trans people might be able to say what is offensive towards trans people. And, throughout the course of arguing with these trolls, I was getting really worked up, which is not unusual. I tend to get upset fairly quickly when I'm arguing with someone, because I get really frustrated when I can't, project my correct opinion into their brain and convince them. Arguing with people on the internet about things like that is not going to do anything. But at the same time, I didn't want a trans person to look at this Facebook post and see no one commenting in favor of trans people. So that's why I jumped in there. But throughout the course of arguing with this troll, I was getting really upset. And finally, Like, they were asking me, like, well, you can't even define gender dysphoria. What is gender dysphoria? And I'm just like, I don't need to define it because I experience it every day. A little bit dramatic. But that was the moment when I was like, shit, yeah, that's actually true. I do. I am pretty sure I am trans. So that's when my realization began. And I went into research mode and I started watching YouTube videos from lots of different trans guy YouTubers. So Jackson Bird, Ty Turner, and especially Jamie Dodger, Jamie Rains. So after watching a lot of Jamie's videos, somehow I learned that Jamie and Shaba, who is Jamie's wife now, fiance at that time, that they streamed on Twitch. So I vaguely remembered Twitch because I had watched a Mr. Rogers marathon on it many years earlier. And that was the extent of my knowledge of Twitch. But I was like, yeah, let's see what this is. So you're telling me that Jamie and Shaba will be there live and I can chat with them and watch them play games? This sounds amazing. But I needed a username. So around this time also I was trying to figure out what name would suit me if I decided to change my name, which I was pretty sure I wanted to do because my birth name is a very stereotypically feminine name, and hearing it just made me, it hurt every time I heard it. So essentially, I was trying to find a good name to suit me, like a quote-unquote male name. I wanted to keep my same initials, so I wanted to keep the T and the J. So I knew I needed to find a first name that started with T. So I'm on these baby name sites going through all these different T names, and for a while I was thinking about Theodore because I thought, oh, Theo, that could be cool. But unfortunately, that would also mean that a popular nickname for me would be Teddy, and my last name is Bear, and I really did not want to be that guy whose name is literally Teddy Bear. So, I mean, it's a good conversation point, but I didn't want to do that. So I decided against Theodore. I looked at, like, Travis, but that didn't feel right. And all these different names. Tristan definitely did not feel right. I kept coming back to Thomas and thinking, yeah, actually, that sounds kind of right. That sounds kind of like me. But, I would want to go by Tom. But spelling it Tom, I had an uncle, an ex-uncle, so an uncle through marriage who is no longer married to my aunt, named Tom, who spelled it Tom. And unfortunately, huge Make America Great supporter, Mike Pence fanboy, and just not someone I wanted to associate myself with name-wise. So I was like, okay, well, I can spell it with the H. I can spell it Thom. And I know that's going to cause a lot of difficulty because no one hears the name Tom and spells it Thom, but that's fine. So, like, I don't mind if people misspell my name. Like, when I go to Starbucks and they write Tom, I am fine with that. I do not mind that. But I do like spelling it Thom. So I decided my name is Thomas. I'm going to go by Tom. Great. So going back to Twitch, I needed a Twitch username. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, I want something that says my name. So it has to have Tom in it. And, like, through my entire life, since the internet became a part of my life when I was a teenager, through my entire internet life, I have used male names online and interacted with people who thought that I was a guy. I am a guy, but at that time I didn't know it. So I wanted something different from that. Like, I was imagining, like, going online and using my male name and then eventually having to come out to people and, like, the awkwardness, like, oh, what if they won't accept? And, like, I don't want to deal with any of that. I just want people to know immediately, my name is Tom, I am trans. If you don't like that, save us all some trouble and don't even befriend me. So I went with Tom is trans as my name and hopped on into Shaba and Jamie's chat. And Yeah, so Jamie and Shaba were the first people. I want to say Jamie was the first person in the entire world to call me Tom. So, yay! So, hearing Jamie, who I just looked up to so much, calling me by my chosen name was amazing. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, that's it, that's my name. And I made a Twitter account, a secret Twitter account, where I could, like, so another thing I did was I used one of those apps where it makes you look like you have facial hair. So I took a picture of me and I gave myself like a little goatee and a little mustache thing, like kind of like I have now, except much more filled in. And I used that as my profile pic for my Twitter account. And it looked good. Like looking at it, I was like, gender, yes. It just looked right. But at this point, okay, so Jamie and Shaba and their chat know me, know that I am trans. No one else in the entire world knew at this point that I was trans. I had not told even my best friend. I had not told anyone. But a friend of mine, who I've known for a really long time, um, happened upon my new Twitter, recognized me in the picture, saw that my name was Tom is trans, and messaged me being like, "Hey." so I, so I ended up coming out to that person because what can you do when you get caught like that? And like I'm still not sure how that even happened because there was nothing to connect me to that account, but nonetheless, it happened. So first person I came out to was that particular friend. And then after that, I came out to my best friend, and she, I knew that she would take it well. Like, I knew that she would be supportive, but I was still worried. Like, I was still scared that she would feel like our relationship was changing or I was different now or something like that, but no problem at all. So coming out to my friends, it was great. Like, 100% support. So the way that I came out to, so the next person I came out to was my mom over email because I could not, like, verbalizing things like that is really difficult for me. Like, going up to someone and telling them a deep truth about myself is difficult. Telling my mom or someone in my family a deep truth about myself is next to impossible. Like, the words just won't come. They stick in my throat and refuse to come out. So I wrote an email to her explaining it, and she was surprised and concerned and worried for me, but supportive. So good. So then after that, I went onto Facebook, and I made the Facebook post about, hey, this is how I've been feeling. I've realized that I'm transgender, blah, blah, blah. I'm using the name Tom. And thankfully, I didn't get any hate comments or anything, even though I'm still friends with various people from my high school who I'm sure are not, like, a lot of the people who went to my high school aren't even cool with gay people, let alone trans people. Because I've said before, it's deep in Trump country over there. But, yeah, so I got tons of likes. Some of my relatives messaged me to show their support. It was, it was good. It was a good experience. And I also officially changed my pronouns on Facebook. Wow. That's how you know. That's how you know someone is officially trans when they have changed their pronouns on Facebook. Yeah. So, yeah. And then many months after that, I ended up coming out to my grandma also via email, and she was just amazing about it as well. So, overall, oh yeah, and then she told, like, everyone else in the family because that she was excited to share news with them. So, yeah. Overall, it went really well this second time. The first time, it did not go well, but that was back in 2001, 2002, 2003 was around when I figured out I was trans the first time, and I didn't exactly come out, but the reaction to my exploration of gender at that time was really, really negative. So I ended up going back in the closet. But this time, the do-over, like 20 years later, went very well. So yeah. And so that is how I came to have the name Tom. So that was our story time for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did not, I'm sorry, but you stuck around at least. Oh, I'm just seeing that one of the trans flags is crooked. There we go. That's about all. I need to go finish my laundry, so I'm gonna end here. But if you guys have any questions about trans stuff or things about my transition, or like I could also talk a little bit about how I came out at work, which was, it's not much of a story actually, but I could talk about that as well. Or if there's anything you have questions about, like hormones or surgery or anything, whatever, just let me know, and I'm happy to talk about that in a future video. Okay. All right, well, that's all for this video. Thank you, as always, to my patrons, and shout out to the Nick Nelson members, Kelly Walker and Book Nerd Charlie. And thank you very, very much to everyone who has donated to my top surgery GoFundMe. I really appreciate your support, and that is all. Okay. All right. See you later. Okay, bye.